Hey guys, I am back again, and recently I got back into reading published books, and I say published books because I read every day. I'm always reading, but I read stories that are written by people who want to share their stories on writing platforms for others to read. And so these are unpublished books, technically with like a publisher, but like, you know, they're online. And one of the platforms I use is Inkit. It's pretty cool. I actually posted stuff on Inkit like a year ago because I was just going through the 3 stories that I posted, and one was a story I wrote in middle school, so that was like a while ago. I think I edited it for typos, but that content was from middle school Ashley. And then the other one I wrote in college for one of my creative writing courses, and then there was one that I wrote like a year ago just in free time because I was bored and the idea just came to my head. It was about a werewolf. I actually literally just reread it today, and I was like, damn, that's actually not a terrible story, and I kind of like my characters. I mean, I made them. So I might actually do an update on those stories. And I'll post a link below, at least to the story that I really like. At the moment, if you read it before I get to the typos, there are typos, and I'm sorry, but just get by them. There might be like 3 or 4. If you actually do take the time to go and read my stories, please leave a comment because I would love to know what you thought about them. Constructive criticism is always welcome. But back to the reason why there's a video today. I got back into reading published books, and one of the books that I read was The Game of Desire by Shan Boodram. If you don't know who she is, she's a sexologist. Actually look her up on YouTube. She's awesome. So how I found out about this book was I was on YouTube, and in the next videos you should watch, her video popped up, and it was about an interview with Courtney, who's also in this book. And I was watching the interview, and then it was like really intriguing to me. So I decided that I would go check out her website. So she has a website about this book too. And on the website, there's a workbook you can do. So I did the workbook because Shan said that even if you don't read and buy her book, do the workbook at least. And I did the workbook, and let me tell you, I loved the workbook. There was a point where I was doing one of the self-reflection quizzes, and I was literally like, this read me for filth. And I love that because, you know, sometimes you look at yourself through a rose petal glass and you're like, okay, yeah, I do this, but you know, like, it's okay that I do this because this. Now, that quiz literally told me, you're this is what you do. Yeah. And I was like, thank you, computer, for telling me something I knew. Like, I knew it's not like it was something I wasn't gonna know, but like, it was good seeing it and having to like really think about it. So I told all my friends to do the workbook, and the majority of my friends did it. And then we had a conversation. So we did like a video chat for like 6 hours, and we discussed our workbook, and then we started talking. And it was really cool because I always knew what my love language is, but I never knew about an apology language. So I just didn't know there were 5 apology languages. And doing the workbook, I found out what my apology language is. And I found out that actually my apology language differs from my friends. So like, if I mess up, I would apologize in the way that I would want someone to apologize to me. But that way actually pisses one of my friends off. She was literally like, if you apologize to me like this, I will be so mad. And so I learned what her apology language is. So like, now I can be more conscious of how I apologize to someone. So I would recommend everyone, if you're not going to buy the book, do the workbook. I will put the link in the description too. It's free. It's like 100% free, and it's really great self-reflection. There are quizzes and stuff like that. I finished this book in 2 days. It was an easy read and very entertaining and informative. So after I read this book, I started looking into other books, and I bought The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. I'm actually in the process of reading this, as you can see. I think it's like 300 pages, and I'm on page 90. If you've noticed anything about these 2 books that I've been reading, for me, the common theme is self-esteem, confidence, building yourself up. Yes, I'm reading them for me because like, if you read this book, you realize that you're never done building yourself up because your self-esteem is self-perception, and it always changes depending on different situations and how you view yourself. But I'm reading both of these books as recon for my master thesis that I want to do in my 2nd year of my program. I want to focus on self-esteem in women, more specifically self-esteem in women of color, but self-esteem and building it and knowing about your self-identity. There is a spectrum of Blackness, and I don't think everyone takes into account that spectrum. And in certain ways, people will say, oh, I'm revoking your Black card. What does it mean to revoke someone's Black card? And why are we doing this? Like, who said that you can't be Black and do different things? Because, like, I'm an example. I went to a PWI my whole life growing up. So, obviously, I'm going to do things that most people associate that white people do. Like, I played ice hockey. Yes, some black people do play ice hockey. We have like some professional players that are black. So when I tell people that I play a sport, the assumption is I play basketball because I'm decently tall. But when I'm like, no, I play ice hockey, everyone literally looks at me, and it's like that pause moment where they're like, this does not make sense. Like, and then when I told them, yeah, I used to play on the boys team, it gets worse. They're like, really? Like, are you sure? And I'm like, no, I'm lying to you. Okay, I did not. Of course I played. So I played like ice hockey and I played lacrosse. And common misconception, everyone's like, oh, lacrosse is a white bro sport. We stole the game of lacrosse from Native Americans. Fun fact, we stole the game. There is a movie on Netflix, I think it's called Arrow. There were these two brothers and a cousin. They were the Thompson siblings, and they used to play for UAlbany. I used to literally skip work when I was in high school. Like, I would have a shift at Abercrombie and Fitch. That's where I worked in high school. I would skip shifts. I would literally give away my time and a half shifts so I could watch them play lacrosse. That is how good they are. All right, so I'm off topic. There is like a spectrum for blackness that in a lot of situations people don't acknowledge the spectrum, so we box in what it means to be black. And already there's a box of what it means to be black for some people, but then there's a box for social media, for the news, for like outlets, right? And these boxes, I guess, can go into like a Venn diagram kind of, because there's like our box, media's box, and then there's like an overlap of places where they could mix. But there's all this other area that you could literally fall into and you're still black. People can't just take away your black card because you do something. I understand that people do dumb shit. Like, it's undeniable. But you taking away their black card doesn't mean that they're no longer black. It doesn't mean that other people are not going to look at them like they're black. You need to accept that, okay, he did or she did or they did some stupid shit. They are black, but they are not the example of what blackness is. They're just a part of it. So that's where the spectrum comes in. We're not defining everybody by the same thing, and we're not letting someone's dumb actions define everybody else. The main thing is that these two books I'm using for Recon for my hopeful master's thesis next year.